Love Tricks by James Shirley. Prologue. As a principle by nature wrote, in all our understanding there is not one art or action but must tend and move from some beginning to its end. The soldiers that wear the honored bays upon their brows and glorious trophies raised to fame on pile of wounds knew a time when they sucked at war. Your muse-inspired men and of diviner earth, sacred for wit, crept out of their first elements to it. The goodliest harvest had first seed and hope, ere it could lade with an enriching crop the rural team. The exactest building first grew from a stone, though afterward it durst wrap his fair head in clouds. Nothing so true as all things at beginning. Upon you dwell candid application, displays the first fruits of a muse, that before this never saluted audience, nor doth mean to swear himself a factor for the scene. Though he employs some hours, he only prays you take it as firstborn, although he says he meant it not his heir, since 'tis unjust one should have all, as in the law it must. Except that in beginning, all men know he first kissed bays that wore them on his brow. Dramatis Personae. Cornelio, an ancient gentleman. Infortunio, a gentleman lover of Selina. Rufaldo, an old merchant. Antonio, son to Cornelio, in love with Hilaria. Gasparo, a gentleman lover of Felice. Babuculus, a rich Gaul in love with Hilaria. Jenkin, a Welshman. Ciccarello, his page. Gorgon, Antonio's servant. Ingeniolo, a justice's clerk. Orlando Furioso, Aurora, an old countryman. Oaf, his son. Shepherd, Selina, Cornelio's daughter. Felice, her sister. Hilaria, Rufaldo's daughter. Delia, a chambermaid. Medulla, a country gentlewoman. Shepherdesses, officers and servants. There is nothing in this play to determine where the scene is laid. The only local allusion is in the second scene of the second act, where this our fairy isle occurs. The fact is, Shirley thought only of England, the true fairy isle, to him and his contemporaries, who, whenever their scene is laid, generally make their characters think, speak, act like those that were moving around them. Love Tricks, or the School of Compliment. A school of compliment, that is, the whole circle of fashion, able accomplishments, not merely of polite address. Act 1, Scene 1. The street before Cornelio's house. Enter Antonio and Gasparo. Antonio. Sirrah, this Welshman is in love with my sister Selina, and hath chosen me for his prolocutor. Gasparo. Oh, this love will make us all mad. Thou knowest I loved a sister of thine once, but heaven knows where she is. I think she loved me too. Dost think she did not? Well, thy father has reason to curse himself, besides some that she and I have. Antonio. Nay, thou'lt fall into passion again. When things past recovery 'twas a good wench, but come prithee to think on her. Gaspario. Nay, I have done. What shall we do? Antonio. Anything but talk of state matters. Thou hast much intelligence in the world. Prithee, what's the news abroad? Come forth, O purpose to hear some, and this is an age of novelties. Gaspario. News? Oh, excellent news. Antonio. Prithee, what is it? I long to hear some. Gaspario. There is no news at all. Antonio. Call you that excellent news? Gaspario. Is it not good news that there is no bad news? The truth is, the newsmaker, Master Moneylack, is sick of a consumption of the wit. Antonio. The newsmaker? Why is there any newsmaker? Gaspario. Oh, sir, how should younger brothers have maintained themselves that have travelled, and have the names of countries and captains without book as perfect as their prayers, and perfecter too, for I think there is more probability of forgetting their prayers. They say them seldom. I tell you, sir, I have known a gentleman that has spent the best part of £1,000 while he was apprenticed to the trade in Holland, and out of 3 sheets of paper, which was his whole stock, a pen and inkhorn he borrowed, he set up shop and spent £100 a year upon his whore, and found sheets for them both to lie into. It has been a great profession, Mary. Most commonly they are soldiers. A peace concluded is a great plague unto them, and if the wars hold, we shall have store of them. Oh, they are men worthy of commendations. They speak in print. Antonio, are they soldiers? Gaspario face. So they would be thought, though indeed they are but mongrels, not worthy of that noble attribute. They are indeed bastards, not sons of war, and true soldiers, whose divine souls I honor. Yet they may be called great spirits too, for their valor is invisible. These, I say, will write you a battle in any part of Europe at an hour's warning, and yet never set foot out of a tavern. Describe you towns, fortifications, leaders, the strength of the enemies what confederate. Every day's march not a soldier shall lose a hair or have a bullet fly between his arms, but he shall have a page to wait on him in quarto. Nothing destroys them but one of good memory, for if they escape contradiction, they may be chronicled. Antonio, why thou art wise enough to be an informer. Gaspario, Mary, now you speak of a trade, indeed the very atlas of a state politic, the common shore of a city, nothing falls amiss unto them, and if there be no filth in the commonwealth, they can live by honesty, and yet be knaves by their privilege. There is not an oath, but they will have money for it. Antonio, oh, brave trade. Gaspario, they can eat men alive and digest them, they have their conscience in a string and can stifle it at their pleasure. The devil's journeymen set up for themselves and keep a damnation a house of their own. Indeed, they seldom prove aldermen, yet they are taken for knights every day of the week. When they ride post, they have the art of insinuation and speak writs familiarly. They are agents, as I have heard, for the devil in their lifetime, if they die in their bed. Have this privilege to be sons of hell by adoption and take place of sergeant. Stay, who's here? Thy sister Infortunio. Let's observe. They walk aside. Enter Infortunio and Selina. Infortunio, I must have other answer, for I must love you. Selina must, but I do not see any necessity that I should love you. I do confess you are a proper man. Infortunio, oh, do not mock, Selina. Let not excellence, which you are full of, make you proud and scornful. I am a gentleman, though my outward part cannot attract affection. Yet some have told me nature hath made me what she need not shame. Yet look into my heart. There you shall see what you cannot despise. For there you are, with all your graces waiting on you. There love hath made you a throne to sit and roll over. Infortunio, all my thoughts obeying and honoring you as queen pass by my outside, my breast I dare compare with any man. Selina, but who can see this breast you boast of? So Infortunio, oh, 'tis an easy work, for though it be not to be pierced by the dull eye, whose beam is spent on outward shapes, there is a way to make a search into its hiddenest passage. I know you would not love to please your sense. A tree that bears a ragged, unleafed top in depth of winter may, when summer comes, speak by his fruit. He is not dead, but youthful. Though once he shewed no sap, my heart's a plant kept down by colder thoughts and doubtful fears. Your frowns, like winter storms, make it seem dead, but yet it is not so. Make it but yours, and you shall see it spring and shoot forth leaves. Worthy your eye, and the oppressed sap ascend to every part to make it green, and pay your love with fruit. When harvest comes, it my affection be suspected. Make experience of my loyalty by some service, though full of danger. You shall know me better, and so discern the truth of what you see not. Selina, then you confess your love is cold as yet, and winter's in your heart. Infortunio, mistake me not, Selina, for I say my heart is cold, not love. Selina, and yet your love is from your heart, I'll warrant. Infortunio, oh, you are nimble to mistake my heart is cold in your displeasures only, and yet my love is fervent, for your eye, casting out beams, maintains the flame it burns, and again, sweet love, my heart is not mine own, 'tis yours, you have it, and while it naked lies not danger, bosom to keep it warm, how can it be but cold is danger to be frozen? Blame not it, you only are in fault. It hath no heat. Selina, well, sir, I know you have rhetoric, but I can without art give you a final answer. Fortunio, oh, stay and think a while. I cannot relish. You should say final, sweet, deliberate. It doth concern all the estate I have. I mean not dunghill treasure, but my life doth stand or fall to it. If your answer be that you can love me, be it swift as lightning. But if you mean to kill me and reject my so long loved devotions, which I have paid as to an altar. Stay a little longer, and let me count the riches I shall lose. By one poor airy word, first give me back that part of infortunio that is lost within your love. Play not the tyrant with me. And Selina, you're over weak to let your passions sway you. If I knew anything I had of yours, I would not do you that injustice, sir, to let it stay with me, and for your love I cannot pay it back again with mine. Either release the debt, or I shall die in it. Your suit is fruitless, hopeless. Pardon me. Farewell. Going, Antonio, coming forward now. By all my hopes you are to blame. Sister, come, this gentleman deserves your love. And Fortunio, return. Selina, brother, you forget yourself. Antonio, why, I do remember I am your brother. I say you must love him. Selina, must. Antonio, what does that move your spirit? What are but you may love? Be not petulant, you are a baggage, and not worthy of a man. Exit Selina. By heaven, I know I now could kick her. Gaspario, thy other sister was of a calmer temper. This is a true woman. Fortunio, sir, had not nature made you brother to her, I should be angry. Exit. Antonio, alas, poor gentleman, I do not feel myself in such an honor for Hilaria, and yet by this hand I love her well enough. And now I think on it, I promised her my company. She has a damnable user, a stinking wretch to her father that can not abide me. But 'tis no matter, this wench and I may find a place to meet in spite of his eyes and spectacles. Enter Gorgon. How now, Gorgon? What says she? Gorgon, sir, I have done your remembrances to Mistress Hilaria, and told her she should find you coming by and by, but you were best pass in some obscurity, for her father Rufaldo is hard by, sir. Lupus and Fabula, they retired. Enter Rufaldo. Antonio, Gaspario, and thou love me, shew thy wit to entertain this piece of black damask and velvet guards while I go into Hilaria. Exit Antonio. Rufaldo, old men are the truest lovers, young men are constant and wag with every wind. We never move, but are as true as steel. Gorgon, but in women's matters as weak as water, as weak as water. Aside Rufaldo, beside sweet love, but do I court a shadow to see whither love will carry a man? Let me see, I could find in my heart to bestow a ring upon my sweetheart, but that I am loth to part with him. I will get but one child, and that shall be a boy, lest having too many children, I undo my heir, and my goods be divided. O sweet Selina, O amiable Selina, sure I am not old. Gorgon, I have it, Signor Gasparo. Pray let me begin with my merchant. If you love me and you like it, second me. Gasparo, go to Gorgon. Let's see thy wit now. Rufaldo, old men walk with a staff and creep along the street, hold their heads below their girdle, falter in their speech, foam at the mouth, breathe 10 times in a furlong, and are ready to spit their lungs on every man's threshold. Gorgon, coming forward, God save you, sir. Rufaldo, God and mercy, honest Gorgon. Gorgon, I cry you mercy, sir. I assure you, sir, I took you for Master Rufaldo, the old merchant. Rufaldo, why, and am not I? Is not the fellow drunk? I am Rufaldo. Gorgon, it may be some kin to him, but not that Rufaldo. I mean, you are younger, a fair deal. Rufaldo, I am that Rufaldo, the merchant that buried my wife lately, and have one daughter, Hilaria, ancient acquaintance with Cornelio and your master Antonio. Gorgon, oh, sir, you must excuse me for that. Rufaldo is thy name. Gorgon, Gorgon, what else, sir? Honest Gorgon, Rufaldo, do I know thee to be Gorgon? What shall I be faced out of myself? Why, thou varlet, who am I, if not Rufaldo? Gorgon, why, sir, 'tis plain you have no grey hairs in your head, your cheek is scarlet, a wanton youthful eye. Rufaldo had a head like frost, his eyes sunk into their hollows, a rugged brow, a hoary beard, and all his body not worth a drop of blood, a very crazy old meal-mouthed gentleman. You are younger at least by 30 years. Rufaldo, I'll assure thee I was Rufaldo when I rose in the morning. Gorgon, you have not slept since, have you? Rufaldo, no. Gorgon, 'tis the more strange. I have heard of some that have been changed in a dream, but never waking before. This is strange, nay, admirable. Rufaldo, young chains art sure thou dost not mock. Gorgon, I were a very knave then, if you be Rufaldo. I hope your worship knows I have been bound to my good behaviour. Rufaldo, altered young, ha, I would I were, and yet methinks I am livelier than I was. I feel my joints pliable as wax, and my voice is stronger too. But tell me, honest Gorgon, is it possible for an old man to be young again? Gorgon, nay, I see you'll not believe me. Well, sir, I will be to report the wonder abroad and astonish all your friends. Exit. Rufaldo. Nay, stay honest, Gorgon. Ha! Young, no grey hairs. Gaspario comes forward. Stay, who's there? Gaspario. Ha! 'Tis not he. I'll speak to him. No, 'tis in vain. I'll see if he knows me. Passes by. Rufaldo. Gaspario, what? Does not he know me too? Gaspario. Sir, I should know you. Are you not Signor Petruchio, the dancing master? Rufaldo. Tricks, passages. I am Rufaldo. Oh, Rufaldo. Rufaldo is indeed old, but you are young. You do retain his countenance. I would swear you were he, but you are younger far. Rufaldo. 'Tis so. I am changed. I am younger than I was. I am that Rufaldo. Believe it. I know you to be a learned gentleman named Gasparo. I was told before I was altered, but not to trouble you with many questions. Only one, Gasparo. Is it a thing possible for an old man to be young again? I know 'tis admirable, but is it possible? You are a scholar, Gasparo. Possible? Oh, yes, there's no question, for we see by experience stags cast their old horns and prove vigorous, snakes cast off their old coats, eagles renew their age, your plants do it familiarly. The phoenix, when she is old, burns herself to ashes, from thence revives a young phoenix again. Possible, I've heard some old men have been twice children, sir, therefore 'tis not impossible. Rufaldo. 'Tis very strange. I am not yet confident, Gasparo. There be receipts in physics, sir, to keep them young. Receipts in physics. Saving that time runs on a little beforehand with them, yes, and to make young, since it is hard to make alive when they are dead, than to make young when they are alive, and physic doth revive some out of all question, though not so familiarly as kill, for that they do with a little study. Marry, I think if it were as gainful to the physician to restore as to destroy, he would practice the art of recovery very faithfully. Rufaldo. Why do you think it would not prove as gainful, Gasparo? Oh, by no means, for where an old man would give £100 to have 40 or 50 years wiped off the old score in his life, his wife or next heir would join rather than fail to outbid him half on to put him out of debt quite and send his old leaking vessel into mortem. Rufaldo. Well, but if I be young, I have taken no physic for it, Gasparo. If nay, 'tis past and two, you are certainly restored. Let me see. You look like one of 4 or 36, not a minute above, and so much a man may take you for. Rufaldo. Well, I know. Oculus. Well, I know not what to say. There in some power and love has blessed me. Now, Selina, be thou gracious. Gasparo, are you in love? Nay, the wonder is not so great. Who can express the power of love? I've read of a painter named Pygmalion that made the picture of a woman, so to the life that he fell in love with it, courted it, lay in bed with it, and by the power of love it became a soft-natured wench indeed, and begot, I know not how many children of her. Well, Sir, Selina cannot choose but be mad for you. Rufaldo. Not mad, Gasparo. I would be loth to be troubled with her, and she be mad. Gasparo. Yes, and she be mad in love. There is no harm in it. She cannot be too mad in love. Your cornucopia may be abated at pleasure. Besides, sir, the best moral men say love itself is a madness. The madder your wife is, the more sure you may be she loves you. Rufaldo. No, I love no madness on any condition for fear of being born mad. Gasparo. Why, sir, madness is not such a discredit as the age goes. You know there are many mad fashions of a man, but sometimes they be mad. Are not your great men mad, that when they have enough will pawn their soul for a monopoly? Beside, mad lords, what do you think of ladies at some time of the moon? You may spell them, their names, madam. You have mad courtiers that run madding after citizens' wives. The citizens are mad too to trust them with their wares. You have been so deep in their wives' books before. Your justice of peace sometimes mad too, for when he may see well enough, he will suffer any man to put out his eye with a bribe. Some lawyers are often stark mad and talk wildly. No man is able to endure their terms. Note. Will pawn their soul for monopoly. The granting of monopolies of the manufacture or sale of certain articles so prevalent in Shirley's time is often alluded to by our old writers, and with good reason. In general, they were bestowed on the favorites of the day, who either raised vast sums on their sale or shared in the iniquitous profits which they produced. The reader will find a most curious list of the monopolies in the beginning of James the First reigns. Rufaldo, prithee, madcap, believe I am almost mad to hear thee. Gasparo, well, my old young Rufaldo, if you marry Selina, I shall have a pair of gloves, I hope, and you'll let me dance in your wedding. Rufaldo, that thou shalt, boy, and I'll dance myself too, hey? Exit leaping. Gasparo, farewell, credulity, ha! With what a greediness do old men run out of their wits! 'Twas a good recreation to see with what pleasure he suffered himself to be galled. Faith, Gasparo, play out thy hand now thou art in. Methinks I have an excellent appetite to make myself merry with the simplicity of this age. Let me see to spring, and I mean to give my head a purgation. It may beat off the remembrance of my lost love, Felice, a pox of melancholy. I will act 2 or 3 parts if I live in spite of it, and if I die, then re-enter Gorgon. Signor Gasparo, my master would speak with you. The project, too. I met the youth strutting like a gentleman usher. 'Twas my invention, Gasparo, but I gave a polish, Gorgon. Gorgon, I confess you took off the rough cast, but 'twas Gorgon's head brought forth the project. From my Jove's brain came this Minerva. Gasparo, I think thou art a wit, Gorgon. Who, I a wit? I thought you had more wit than to make such a question. All the town takes me for a wit. Here's a pate hath crackers in it and flashes, Gasparo, and thou sayest the world will join in a project of wit to make an ass of the world. A little it shall make us merry, if it take no other ways we'll join. Gorgon, by this hand, any project of wit, what is good, Gasparo, the project. Gasparo canst be close, Gorgon, as midnight to a bawd, or a pair of trusses to an Irishman's buttocks. Gasparo, go to, thou shalt now then excuse me to thy master. I will presently furnish myself with new lodgings, and expect to hear from me shortly, my brave Delphic. I have it in embryo, and I shall soon be delivered. Gorgon, if I fail, call me spider catcher. Gasparo, mum, not a word. If all hit right, we may laugh all our melancholy thoughts away. Exit.